Welcome everyone. Look here. Oh man, this one right here. This one's a hot one. This one's gonna be a good video, cause I'm gonna prove that what many believe to be true is that African Americans fulfill the 400-year prophecy that was foretold by Almighty Yahweh Himself to Father Abraham in Genesis chapter 15, verses 12 through 14. And also that the celebration, or that the memorial that was held in 2019 of the 400 years, being from 1619 to 2019, are about the African Americans, but we're also the Israelites that were being spoken of in Genesis 15, chapter 15. And that the 400 years is about us, and the evidence shows that the 400 years may have just been completed. So let's read this very powerful prophecy that Almighty Yahweh told Father Abraham. Genesis, this is the World English Bible because it has Yahweh's name in there. That's why I like to use it. Genesis chapter 15, verse 12 through 14. When the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell on Abram. Now terror and great darkness fell on him. He said to Abram, know for sure that your offspring will live as foreigners in a land that is not theirs, and will serve them. They will afflict them for 400 years. I will also judge that nation whom they will serve. Afterward, they will come out with great wealth. So, Father Abraham had a vision and a terror and a darkness, because many times that's when Yahweh communicated with people. That's what happened to them. And so Yahweh promised Father Abraham. His name was Abram at that point. Later, it was changed to Abraham. But he would have some, through his chosen seed. He would have ancestors, which are the Israelites, that would live as foreigners in a land that's not theirs. Now, it's important to remember that the Israelites, back in the original exile in Exodus, in the original exile or the original oppression of the Israelites in Egypt, wasn't for 400 years, because when they first went to Egypt, they were with their brother Joseph, and they had great favor, and they were treated greatly. But it was only after a king that they did not know, and Pharaoh that they did not know, took in charge. And when he came into being, into power, then that Pharaoh turned against the Israelites and had a great dislike for them. So now this ties in now to Deuteronomy chapter 28. I did a couple of videos on that chapter because it foretold the slavery that the Israelites would go through, which is our people, the African Americans, the descendants of the transatlantic slave trade, all over the Americas, South America, and Central North America, the Caribbean islands, and the islands off of Africa, both coasts of Africa, even the colonization of Africa, the ones enslaved there, the ones who were in the UK and Europe, even the ones in Asia who were enslaved, who were taken to India, and even the Arab nations in other places, are the true children of God. We are the Israelites, the bloodline descendants of Father Abraham, Father Isaac, and Jacob. Okay? We are the bloodline descendants, the real true Israelites. So let's see how this ties in. Now, let's go into Deuteronomy chapter 64. Chapter 28, verses 64 through 68. Now, remember this. Many people know about the 400-year prophecy, and many people have spoken about it as being compared to America. Now realize that those people that I saw who were talking about it were not people who were enslaved in America, but the only people that could ever fit that prophecy are the African Americans who have been enslaved and oppressed in America. And the only people who could fit this prophecy, which I'm about to read, the only people that it could be are the descendants, the African descendants who were taken from the west coast of Africa in Central America, and sometimes the South, very seldom the East. But the West Africans and the Bantus, they are the Israelites of God. And we are the only people in the history of the earth who this has happened to. We are the only people on this earth, then and now, who this prophecy could apply to. We're the only people who it could be. And um, this happened to us because our ancestors were disobedient to Almighty God Yahweh. So this is the punishment he put upon our people. Deuteronomy 28, verse 64. Yahweh will scatter you among all nations. I'm sorry. Yahweh will scatter you among all peoples, from one end of the earth to the other end of the earth. There you will serve other gods, which you have not known, you nor your fathers, even wood and stone. What other group of people has been sent from one end of the earth to the other end of the earth? Literally, our people, what the race known as Negroes, are the true Jews. We are the only people in the history of the earth who's been sent to all parts of the earth. Like I said, South America, North America, UK, Europe. We were exiled and scattered into Africa. We in Asia. Okay, we have people in Australia. We have people in the islands off of the coast of Africa on both sides. Literally all over the earth, our people have been scattered. We were taken to Rome by the millions in in it especially during the after the destruction of Jerusalem in the siege of Jerusalem in 70 AD that occurred. Our people, many hundreds and hundreds of thousands, were taken into Rome, into Europe, and then to other places, to Sicily. Many of hundreds of thousands, even millions of our people lived in in Portugal and Spain, but that's for another time. Okay, so not just lived but ruled Portugal and Spain. So, but let's go on. Also, we have worship gods that are not ours. We got into Christianity because the Israelites' only God was ever supposed to be Yahweh. Then and all the way up to now and forever, the first commandment is, "Thou shalt worship no other gods but me." Our only God that we should worship is Yahweh, and no one else. Anyone else is a false God. Okay, verse 65. Among these nations you will find no ease, and there will be no rest for the sole of your foot. But Yahweh will give you there a trembling heart, failing of eyes, and pining of soul. Your life will hang in doubt before you. You will be afraid day and night, and will have no assurance of your life. Who do you see else this happening to in this country besides the black people? Who else could matches these prophecies but us? This is not happening to people on a regular basis. From the time we got to this country up until now, you see our people being unalived on the news by people who should be protecting us. And it's been happening not just a few times, thousands and thousands of times, more than many people would ever imagine, just by that method alone. Okay? Not to mention all the lynching, all the thousands of men and women that were killed, and all the things that after slavery, and not including the ones during slavery, even those of us, our people that died in the transatlantic crossing, millions. That's never happened to anybody on this earth. And this is how we feel every week. It's like, oh, they got my baby. Oh, they never learn. And people have a chance to change, They don't change the laws to protect us. It keeps going on and on. This is us. This is why it sounds like us, because this is our people. We are the true Jews of the Bible. Listen to this. This is us. Among these nations you will find no ease. There will be no rest for the sole of your foot, but Yahweh will give you there a trembling heart, failing of eyes, and pining of soul. Your life will hang in doubt before you. You will be afraid night and day, and you will have no assurance of your life. In the morning you will say, I wish it were evening. And at evening you will say, I wish it were morning. For the fear of your heart, which you will fear, and for the sights which your eyes will see. Think of all the things that our people's eyes have seen, the things that have happened, our people have seen happen to their loved ones, the people that have happened to them directly. Think of all the people who never found out what happened to their loved ones, but something terrible. They were unalived. They were lynched. This is our people. Deuteronomy, verse 68 now. Yahweh. Now this applies to the Egypt that I was speaking of. Yahweh will bring you into Egypt again with ships by the way of which I told you that you would never see it again. There you will offer yourselves to your enemies for male and female slaves, and nobody will buy you. Okay? So, okay, now let's go look down at Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. Now, in this verse, it says Yahweh. In this verse, it says that Yahweh will bring you into Egypt again with ships. But now, by the way, I told you would never see it again. Now, this did happen before. After according to the historian Flavius Josephus, he said that the history was written that there were thousands of Israelite slaves taken to be sold in Egypt again. They arrived there in ships. And from what I remember, it was at least 20,000 or 30,000 of them that were there. See, after the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 A.D., they had so many slaves that were taken to Egypt in those areas that it was oversaturated, and they just were there, and many of them died from starvation and from exposure, and so this did happen before. But now, as I mentioned in previous videos, it also happened again with us in this Egypt. Okay? Now, here's what I'm getting at. Okay, so here's something very important and very interesting that everyone should know. That Egypt is not always a physical place, but there's also spiritual Egypt, or Egypt known at now. Let me show you an example. Exodus chapter 20, verse 2 says, I am Yahweh your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Now, bondage means slavery. In the New Living Translation, the word bondage is slavery. So when you hear bondage, it means out of the house of slavery. Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 6. I am Yahweh your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. He's speaking to the Israelites. Bondage means slavery. So he brought us out of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. Again, let's okay, here is Exodus chapter 13, verse 4. It shall be, I'm sorry, Exodus 13:14. It shall be when your son asks you in a time to come, saying, what is this? That you shall tell him, by the strength of hand, Yahweh brought us out from Egypt, from the house of bondage. There it goes again. Now, in Micah chapter 6, verse 4, and Judges chapter 6, verse 8, they also speak of Egypt being the land of bondage and slavery. So the Egypt in Deuteronomy 28:68 is slavery, and African Americans fulfill that prophecy.